And you raised a good point there about having that support, like domiciliary care coming in. And one of the first conversations I had with Carol Southgate from Doris Care, that was about, having those conversations early and bringing someone in just to start building that relationship. It might not be that you need that support then.
Absolutely.
But building that relationship and that communication between the person that's going to need the support and the home care is crucial. And it might take 3 or 4 different meetups to build that relationship, to work together, or it might not be right for you and you might need to try a different one. But it's better off doing it early over a few cups of tea or coffee and cake. Always got to be cake.
Oh, yes.
Than, again, waiting till you
Yeah.
get to crisis point and putting up with whatever you can get available that might not actually work for you.
And that's a really interesting point. Can I give you a little example of that?
Absolutely.
This is just in my regard as a sort of an advocate and as emotional support. So I met a lady 3 years ago. She's the daughter of a couple, and the couple, her parents, in their 80s at the time, her dad lived with dementia, mum didn't, but they were getting older, but they're very independent private people. Now she lives in Australia. And she came over for 6 weeks. She often comes over for 6 weeks every summer. And I know she won't mind me sharing this. There's no names there, so it's confidential, but I'm just sharing for context.
Mm-hmm.
She heard about me. She met up with me and she said, I think my mum and dad start needing a little bit of support, but not very much at the moment. But the thing that's going to be the challenge is for them to accept it, because they're very private, they're very independent, and they're well in many ways. They think they don't need it. She said, but I think you could maybe be a really good person for them. I said, well, that's great. You might, but they might not. So I need to meet them. She said, yes. So we arranged a meeting. And the idea would have been, possibly, if they'd agreed, that I might see them once or twice a month for a couple of hours. We might go to the park and have a cup of coffee or tea and cake. We might go out for a drive, whatever. It would be more emotional companionship support. So I went round to their little flat. I sat on the floor because I'm a bit unconventional. So I sat on the floor and they were like, oh, sit on the chair. I said, no, honestly, I'm fine. I think that was kind of a way of sort of connecting on a more intimate level, but that was unconscious for me. But anyway, so we had a chat. And I said, the daughter said, this is Gina and she's maybe available to some support. And they both said, well, we don't need any support. And I said, well, we all need support at some points in our life. And I'm happy to just literally take you out for a cup of coffee, see you a couple of times over the next couple of months. And if you don't think it's appropriate, you never have to see me again. But if you do, that's great. And that was nearly 3 years ago. So I saw them every week. So it started off twice a month. And then it's every week. They're actually now in a care home. But I built that relationship with them, so I still see them every week. And it's actually their 70th wedding anniversary. So I'm taking them out today for afternoon tea. We're going for a nice drive. We're going to a lovely hotel, and we're going to be spoilt with an afternoon tea. What's happened with my role is it's changed over time. So I'm in regular contact with the daughter in Australia. There is another daughter in Exeter, but she's got lots going on and health issues and things. So she's involved, but can only be to a degree. So I'm kind of like that conduit in between, that emotional support, that practical support. I also help with the transition situation of finding a care home that was suitable for them, which again was a challenge, but they've been there nearly a year now. And it has been hard. It certainly hasn't been plain sailing. But I would say I've been instrumental in that circle of support, and it's been brilliant for them. And great for me from a learning perspective, and how important it was to set that up then and not wait to crisis.
Yeah, and that's a really good example, actually. And again, going back to the episode that I've just mentioned with Caroline Southgate, she gave a bit of a tip, actually, that said when we're talking about support for people like you've just described, that are independent and a bit resistant to that support coming in, actually flipping it and saying, well, do you not think your daughter or your son or whoever that might be could just do with a little bit of respite themselves or a little bit of a break? So me coming in just for that hour just gives them time, and that gives them that purpose back that they are the mother and they want to care for the daughter. So by having that support in, they're taking care of their daughter. It's just flipping it back round again. And that you've just given a prime example of that, especially with her living in Australia.